Hi, Adam Sweet here from Sweet Music Studio. Today's lesson is going to be about picking patterns and strumming patterns. One of the questions I often get from new students is how do I play rhythm? And rhythm is a complicated process that involves movement, squeezing and releasing of the left hand, and a down up pattern with the pick in the right hand. And combining the two makes a variety of rhythmical patterns and sounds. So let's talk about picking patterns first. And I'm going to show you 4 picking patterns that are the most common in bluegrass and Celtic and klezmer music, which are the 3 primary styles that I teach. And you can practice these picking patterns on open strings, on very simple quarter note melodies that you know, and on scales and arpeggios. And I recommend that you practice it with scales and arpeggios because then you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get the benefit of working on your muscle memory with your scales and working on your picking patterns with your right hand. All right, the first pattern is very simple. It's quarter notes, and we're going to do 4 quarter notes per note. So you're going to start with the flat of your pick on the string. I've talked before in a previous lesson about why you want to start on the flat of the pick instead of on the edge. But I'll just repeat here that the primary reason for that is tone. When you start on the flat of the pick, you're going to get a full, robust tone, whereas if you start on the edge, you're going to get kind of a scratchy, wispy sound. Okay, so we're going to go down, up, down, up. We're going to do 4 quarter notes. Okay, now like I said, you can do that with scales. So here it is with a G major scale, 4 quarter notes per note. Okay, very simple. And my recommendation is that you go very slowly. Download a metronome app from either Google Play or the Apple Store and install it on your smartphone, and then you can have it going when you're practicing. And any free metronome app will do. Try to get one that has either a visual arm that moves back and forth, or a light that blinks back and forth in addition to sound. It'll help you if you have both the visual and the auditory element of the metronome. Okay, so the first pattern is quarter notes. The second pattern is eighth notes. And just like with the first pattern, we're going to do the G major scale, and we're going to do 8 eighth notes per note. And one other thing, you're going to do a little bit of an accent on the first of each set of 4. So it sounds like this. Now I'm exaggerating that little accent so that you can hear it. It's really not supposed to be an accent. It's more like a pulse. But it will differentiate the 2 sets of 4 eighth notes enough so that other people in your group will be able to hear that, but the audience won't. Okay, the third pattern is 2 sets of triplets per note. Now a triplet is 3 notes that is played over 1 quarter note. And the triplet pattern is very common in jigs. So for Celtic music, For single jigs, double jigs, slip jigs, and slides, any of those types of jigs will use this pattern. So we're going to do 2 sets of triplets per note. Same scale, G scale. And one other thing I often get asked, which is, what do you do when you get to the end of the first set of 3 notes? Do you do a double down picking pattern? And my answer is no. You do down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? So that means you're not changing your down, up, down pattern at all. All you're going to do is change the accent on the first set of each triplet. The first note of each triplet. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'd say those are probably the most difficult for mandolin players, especially self-taught mandolin players, because of that concept of down, up, down, up, down, up, right? I think that's a little tricky. A lot of people have taught themselves how to do a double down in the middle of the 2 sets of 3 notes, which is not how I want you to learn it. Okay, and the last picking pattern is tremolo. And tremolo is not easy to play. It's a how do I put it? It's more like a flourish than an actual picking pattern. And the way you do it is you put the heel of your hand behind the bridge, and you're going to keep your arm from moving, and you're going to try to rotate from your wrist. But it's a little tricky, so it's something you have to practice. So start slowly. I'll start on the G string, and then speed up. So what we're going to do is 1 whole note, which is the equivalent of 4 beats per measure or per note, if we're working with scales. So we count 4 beats per whole note. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that will take a little bit of practice to get it right. Now, all 4 of these picking patterns you're going to use throughout various musical styles. You're going to find that the quarter notes and eighth notes are very helpful with hornpipes and reels, and most bluegrass tunes. You're going to find the triplets are really helpful with a lot of hornpipes and a lot of Scottish music, and especially Cape Breton uses tunes use a lot of triplets. The triplets, as I mentioned, are also very commonly used in various jig forms. The tremolo, you're going to use that in bluegrass. You're going to use that in jazz. You're going to use that in every style of music, in klezmer too. And so don't forget the little pulse on the first note of each set of 4 for the eighth notes, and each set of 3 for the triplets. Okay. All right. So that's what I want to talk about today regarding picking patterns. And now let's get to strumming patterns. So we're going to start with a very simple strumming pattern, which is going to go over a 4 quarter note measure. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick a chord, any chord. I'm going to go with the big G because that's my favorite chord, but you can do any chord. I'm going to show this pattern to you with a closed chord, because what I'm going to do with my left hand is create couple interesting rhythms that require me to squeeze, apply pressure on all four strings and then release, and so it's going to create an interesting rhythmical tone. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the G string. So the first note is just simply G, and the second pattern is swiping across all the strings. Okay, so in 4/4 time, you'll do that twice. If you're counting, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And the audience is not going to hear that first note. You don't want to play it too loud. It's really just a sort of a rhythmical anchor for you and your group. But the audience will hear the second and the fourth note, or the second and the fourth rhythm. So it's going to sound like this. Now, sorry, there was a little notification. What?